Okay, brought to you by the most popular demand. This is the most requested video sent to me through Pro Wrestling Mags at Gmail for making a video. The awards issues, or the PWI Awards. Long before PWI was even a publication, the awards were done as early as 1972. And it bounced around from a couple of different publications. I'll go through those for you. I know they've been very difficult for collectors to track down, not knowing which magazines had them, what months, and I'm going to show you each and every magazine from the 1972 awards up until the 1989 awards. The very first awards issue is this wrestling magazine here, Wrestling Annual for 1973, excuse me, number 4. Okay, so it's Victory Sports Series Wrestling Annual number 4, 1973. And this had the very first awards issue in it. Went with the most popular wrestler was it was a tie between Jack Briscoe and Fred Curry. Rookie of the Year was Mike Graham. Tag Team of the Year was Bruiser and Crusher. Lady Wrestler of the Year, they call them Lady Wrestler because they're ladies first and wrestlers second, as told by the fabulous Moolah. Lady Wrestler of the Year, Maria Laverne. Villain of the Year. Villain would be replaced by Most Hated later on. In the beginning, it went by Villain, and that would go to the Sheik. Manager of the Year, Bobby the Brain Heenan. Match of the Year was Bruno Sammartino and at the I'm drawing a blank. Bruno Sammartino at the Olympic Auditorium when he won the Battle Royal out in Los Angeles, which was Match of the Year. Close second runner-up to that was Don Leo Jonathan versus Andre the Giant. And also Bruno versus Pedro was also another close runner-up for Match of the Year. So kind of weird. Match of the Year was a Battle Royal for the very first winner. And that went to Bruno on his first visit to the West Coast. Okay, so your first awards issue, 1973. It is for the year 1972. Obviously, these have to come out a year after. Later on, they'd be released on every March, but that won't be until the 80s issues. Wrestling Annual Victory Sports 1974, issue number 7. You'll notice in the corners, you'll have your numbers. Right here is a really small number 7. So this was Annual 1974 Victory Sports number 7, and your Wrestler of the Year, Rookie of the Year, all that stuff is deep inside the middle of this magazine, and this is covering for 1973. Okay, I know it gets a little confusing with the years, but it's a year back. You have to figure that also throws people off. Your Rookie of the Year that year was a tie between Bob Orton Jr. and Tony Garea. Tag Team of the Year was Bockwinkel and Stevens. Lady Wrestler of the Year, Joyce Grable. Villain of the Year, Superstar Billy Graham. Manager of the Year was the Grand Wizard. The most popular was Chief Jay Strombo, of all people. Let's see, Wrestler of the Year, Jack Briscoe. And Match of the Year was Harley Race defeating Dory Funk for the world title. Next issue is, pay attention to this because there's 2 of them that came out in 1975. One is for 1974 and the other one's for 1975, which you'll see. So this issue here, Victory Sports Series Wrestling Annual number 11, 1975, and this is for the year 1974. Rookie of the Year was Larry Zbyszko. The Tag Team of the Year were the Valiant Brothers. Lady Wrestler of the Year, Rachel Dubois. I don't know who she is. Villain of the Year was the Great Mistifo. Manager of the Year, Captain Lou Albano. Most popular, Billy Robinson. And Wrestler of the Year went to Bruno Sammartino. Now, in that same year, they would put out Wrestling Yearbook for 1975, in 1975. So it wasn't released in 76. 75's awards were released in 1975. So was also 74s. All right, so that's very confusing. So one more time: 1974 awards, 1975 annual number 11. 1975's awards were released in the yearbook number 14, 1975. Rookie of the Year will go to Ric Flair. Lady Wrestler of the Year, Ann Casey. Tag Team of the Year goes to the Anderson Brothers. Match of the Year, Bruno Sammartino versus Spiros Arion. Villain of the Year, Greg Valentine, who was the America's champion at the time. Most popular went to Mil Mascaras. Manager of the Year went to Crybaby Cannon. And Wrestler of the Year went to Mr. Wrestling 2. Okay, awards for 1976. That will be on the cover of Wrestling Annual number 18, 1977. Girl Wrestler of the Year, Lady Wrestler of the Year would be Susan Green. Wrestler of the Year would go to... I can't read my own part. Bruno Sammartino would be the Inspirational Wrestler of the Year. The Executioners were the Tag Team of the Year. The Villain, Stan Hansen. Bruno Sammartino versus Stan Hansen was Match of the Year. Most popular was Wahoo McDaniel. Rookie of the Year, Bob Backlund. Good thing this was on the cover because my paper got screwed up and was out of order. And I'm trying to read off the names to you guys for 1976. Bruno Sammartino had gotten the Most Inspirational Wrestler of the Year. This is one of my favorite covers with Bruno. One of his last covers, second to last cover with him as the world champion. Just a great shot of him in the locker room area. Actually, it's in the hallway of Madison Square Garden on his way out to the ring. And another great shot of Terry Funk when he was the NWA World Champion. Always loved this magazine. It's brings back so much nostalgia to me just looking at this cover. Just a great shot of Bruno. Moving on. Now, take notice. This is our first change. Okay, so 1977. It's no longer in the annuals. In 1 year, it was with the yearbook in 1975. Up until this point, it was all annuals, except for that 175 issue, which was the yearbook. And now it's making a switch from Victory Sports Wrestling to Sports Review Wrestling Annual, 1978. Totally different publication. Okay, so take a note of that. This is, a lot of people get confused. Some people never even knew there was two different wrestling annuals, and there was. Sports Review was one set. Victory Sports was another. Victory Sports ended in 1980. It came out in 72 and 70 and ended in 80. And then Sports Review Annual started in 1976. Okay, so for 1977, they had Villain of the Year, Ken Patera. Match of the Year, Superstar Graham defeating Bruno Sammartino for the WWF Heavyweight title. Rookie of the Year was a tie between Ricky Steamboat and Jimmy Snuka. The Tag Team of the Year were the Anderson Brothers once again. Manager of the Year, Grand Wizard, for winning the title with Superstar over Bruno. The Wrestler of the Year was Dusty Rhodes, and you can see him on the cover. Inspirational Wrestler of the Year, Bob Backlund. And the most popular wrestler of 1977 was Andre the Giant. Moving along to the next issue of Sports Review Annual 1979. This came out in spring of 1979. Like I said, mostly all these will come out in March of every year. The annuals that they came out were usually in the springtime, and this is just following suit, which would come later on every March for the PWI issues. 1978, we start off with the Most Hated Wrestler went to Ric Flair. Tag Team of the Year went to Steamboat and Paul Jones, who were the Tag Team Champions. Most Popular went to Dusty Rhodes. Match of the Year went to Superstar Graham defending the title against Backlund when Backlund won the title. Wrestler of the Year on top of most popular goes to Dusty Rhodes. He's a multi-winner this year. Rookie of the year goes to Tommy Rich. And manager of the year goes to Arnold Skolin. Sports Review Annual 1980 for 1979. Tag Team of the Year would go to Putski and Santana. Rookie of the Year goes to Sweet Brown Sugar. Match of the Year, Dusty Rhodes versus Harley Race, when Dusty won the world title from Harley. Wrestler of the Year goes to Harley Race. The most hated of the year, Greg Valentine. Most popular, Dusty Rhodes. And manager of the year goes to Arnold Skolin. Now, here's another switch. Notice how we were on Sports Review Annual Wrestling. Okay, now we're, for 1 year, it goes to Sports Review, not Sports Review Annual. A lot of people have a hard time finding this issue. It's pretty difficult to find. A lot of people didn't know it switched and are still looking for it in the annuals. It's not in the annual. It is in March of '81, Sports Review Wrestling. And the first award goes to the Rookie of the Year, Terry Taylor. Match of the Year, Bruno Sammartino and Larry Zbyszko in a steel cage at Shea Stadium. Most popular wrestler, Mr. Wrestling 2. Wrestler of the Year went to Bob Backlund. Most hated wrestler went to Larry Zbyszko. Tag Team of the Year went to Snuka and Stevens. They were the World Tag Team Champions. Manager of the Year for the first, and I believe the only time, to Sir Oliver Humperdinck. Okay, so this is the final issue in the Sports Review series. It's the only issue in Sports Review. It was in the annuals for just a couple of years, and until it finds its new home in Pro Wrestling Illustrated, where I believe it still is today. I'm not sure. I don't buy the magazine past 1990, so I couldn't tell you if they still do it. I'm sure they still do it. I know they do like the PWI 500. I'm only guessing they still do it. I don't know. So the first issue of Pro Wrestling Illustrated to cover the awards issue was March of 1982. That went with Wrestler of the Year went to Ric Flair. Match of the Year, which was Killer Khan versus Andre the Giant. Most popular, Tommy Rich. Most hated, Ken Patera. Tag Team of the Year went to the Freebirds. Manager of the Year, Captain Lou Albano. Rookie of the Year went to David Sammartino, or he went by Bruno Sammartino Jr. at that point. Also, this has the first time ever PWI Editors Award, which was basically the Lifetime Achievement Award, and that first time award would go to Bruno Sammartino. The following March 1983, we'll be covering 1982's awards. Most Inspirational Wrestler of the Year went to Roddy Piper. Match of the Year went Bob Backlund versus Jimmy Snuka at Madison Square Garden in a steel cage. That was a great match. Most popular went to Andre the Giant. Most hated, Ted DiBiase. Tag team went to Greg Gagne and Jim Brunzell. Most improved, Barry Windham. Manager of the Year, J.J. Dillon. Rookie of the Year went to Brad Armstrong. And the second PWI Editors Award for Lifetime Achievement went to Lou Thez. Moving up to March 1984, Pro Wrestling Illustrated Awards for 1983. Most popular, Jimmy Snuka, and I got to agree with that. He was red hot in '83. Most hated, Greg Valentine. Tag Team of the Year, the Road Warriors with their championship belts. Great cover. Another issue, it's very hard to find and very expensive if you can find it. Manager of the Year, J.J. Dillon. Wrestler of the Year, Harley Race. Match of the Year, Harley versus Ric Flair, when Harley wins the title back for the 7th time. Rookie of the Year, Angelo Mosca Jr., and the PWI Lifetime Achievement Award, Editor Award, is to the Grand Wizard of Wrestling. PWI March 1985 for the 84 awards. Wrestler of the Year once again goes to Ric Flair. Tag Team of the Year, the Road Warriors. Most popular, Kerry Von Erich. Most hated, Roddy Piper. Rookie of the Year, Mike Von Erich. Manager of the Year, Precious Paul Ellering. Match of the Year, Kerry Von Erich winning the world title in Texas Stadium over Ric Flair. PWI Editor's Award goes to the late David Von Erich. March 1986, covering PWI 1985 Achievement Awards. Rookie goes to the Barbarian. That would be Nord the Barbarian, John Nord the Barbarian. Most hated would go to Roddy Piper. Wrestler of the Year, Ric Flair. Most popular would go to Hulk Hogan. Tag Team of the Year, the Road Warriors. Match of the Year would be WrestleMania 1, Hogan and T versus Piper and Orndorff. Manager of the Year, Jim Cornette for his first, and the Editor PWI Award for Lifetime Achievement will go to the late Dan Shockett, who passed away that year. He was the heel writer for Inside Wrestling and The Wrestler. Dan Shockett died at the young age of 35 years old. 1987 March, PWI covering the 1986 Year-End Wrestling Year Awards. Rookie goes to Lex Luger. Manager goes to Captain Lou Albano. The Feud of the Year was the first time that the Feud is mentioned as one of the awards. That would go to Hogan versus Orndorff, which I was pretty surprised at that. Number 2 was Flair and Dusty. I much probably would think that would be way more popular. Most popular wrestler of the year would be Roddy Piper. Most hated was Paul Orndorff. Match of the Year, Dusty Rhodes versus Ric Flair. Bash 86 at the Cage when Dusty wins the NWA World title for the 3rd time. Tag Team of the Year, Rock and Roll Express. Wrestler of the Year, Ric Flair. PWI Editor's Award goes to Vern Gagne. 1988 March issue for the 87 awards. Rookie goes to Owen Hart. I've never actually seen this guy wrestle. I really didn't like Brett, so I'm sure I wouldn't have liked Owen either. Manager of the Year would be Jimmy Hart. Feud of the Year, the Four Horsemen versus Dusty, Nikita, and the Road Warriors. That would be the War Games from Bash 87. Most popular, Dusty Rhodes. Most hated, Ric Flair. Let's see. Match of the Year, Steamboat versus Savage in Mania 3. Tag Team of the Year, Midnight Express. Wrestler of the Year, Hogan, which Hulk Hogan was Wrestler of the Year. Number two would be Ric Flair. 3, Savage, and 4, Dr. Death Steve Williams. Paul Bosch would get the PWI Editor's Lifetime Achievement Award. Paul Bosch was a great guy, great promoter. And finally, 1989 March issue PWI for the 1988 Year-End Awards. And Rookie of the Year, first time would go to a female, and that would be Medusa Michelli. J.J. Dillon gets the Manager of the Year. A feud, Ric Flair versus Lex Luger. Most popular, Macho Man Savage, who also would have the world title at this time. Most hated would be Andre the Giant. Match of the Year would be Hogan versus Andre in 1988, not the Mania 3 match. It was another match that won that award. Tag Team of the Year, once again, the Road Warriors, who strung along a bunch of wins in a row each year there. Wrestler of the Year would go to Macho Man Savage. And the Editor's Award for Lifetime Achievement would be a tie between Bruiser Brody and Adrian Adonis, and both would pass away in that year of 1988. 1989's awards I don't have because that was released in 1990. PWI was my least favorite publication of any magazine. I just wanted to collect through the 80s. I dislike PWI mainly because they were just posed covers rather than in-action covers. Hence the reason that they put out PWI Annual. PWI Annual was to be 4 photos of each being in action photos as a alternate to the PWI, which was more of a portrait photo cover. And I always prefer the action covers. But by this point, you guys know how I feel about wrestling in itself. I mean, you know, mid 80s, early 90s, I was totally finished with it. The magazines especially went way downhill. I just did keep several issues through the 90s, not complete, hand-picked a few, just kept this one from 1990, which would be the month after the awards issue in March. This was April 1990, where Ric Flair would get the one and only PWI Wrestler of the Decade. And that's where we're going to end it. So note on this video, I hope it made a lot of sense to everybody. This was, honestly, it was the most requested video from anything I've put out, so finally got around to getting it. This is a rather short video, but a lot of information here, and I hope I was able to help some of you collectors find, you know, some of these missing issues that you need. You can track these down. The ones in the early 70s, the annuals, some of them are very difficult to find. Just keep your nose to the grindstone and keep looking, because they will pop up eventually. They are out there for anyone who's looking to complete PWI award issues past 1990. It's simple. They're all in PWI March's issue. Whatever year you want, just go to March of that year, and that'll be the awards issue. But these first 20 years or so, 18 years or so, are some of the more difficult ones to find. And there it is. We'll see you guys on the next.